Okay, guys. First of all, Jim, could you just assess your team situation tonight as you saw it from the field?
Well, it's a disappointing loss. Anytime you lose, it's disappointing. I was proud of the way these young men fought to the end against a very physical and good Nebraska team. As everyone saw, we struggled to stop the run tonight. They ran it 62 times at us and just felt like they could probably wear us out. And we're a little bit light on defense, as everybody knows, and they took advantage of that. It was tough for us to get them stopped. I think if we could have gotten the ball to our offense a few more times, we had a chance to put some points up. I thought they did a nice job. But it's disappointing. As I said in the locker room, I wanted to thank our senior class, the guys that won't play for UCLA again, for laying a tremendous foundation which we can build on. I don't want this one loss to take away from what they've accomplished in their years at UCLA, because they've accomplished quite a bit. And I'm proud of them, and I thank them very, very much. And then for us that are returning, it's a matter of self-reflecting and looking at ourselves and seeing how we can get better as coaches, as players, and not looking for excuses or ways out. And I'm confident that these guys will do that. I'm confident our staff will do that. I know I'll do that. We need to get bigger, obviously. We need to get stronger, obviously. And those are things that we'll work on. In our recruiting, we're working to get bigger guys. So when we get into these games, like against a team like Nebraska, it's a power team, or a team like Stanford, that's a power team, that we have more guys that we can roll through there that have some girth to them, and we don't get pushed around. And sometimes that's a little bit of a catch-22 in our conference when we play some of these spread teams, but it's something that we have to do if we want to compete at the highest level. So that's what our focus is, and will continue to be. And we'll look at this film, and then we'll move on and we'll get better. So. Congratulations to Nebraska and Coach Riley, really a class team. Play hard, play well, play physical, play the way you're supposed to play, and he's going to do a great job there.
Folks, I'll play our guests Jaleel Wadood, Josh Rosen, and Kenny Clark. We'll entertain questions. Please raise your hand so I can acknowledge. Sir.
LT with TD Sports. I know it's kind of frustrating for some of the penalties that you guys are getting, and seem like you guys are getting momentum. But as a coach, what do you do to help eliminate some of those penalties?
We had 7 tonight, which that's not a ton, but 2 of them kept drives alive and ended up being drives that they scored points on. The 2 personal fouls, one on Tack and then the one on Jaleel here, which I think he was trying to hold up, and he hit the guy out of bounds. So the one on Tack, there's no excuse for that. He has to control his emotions. It's a competitive, amazingly competitive and intense environment out there. Yet you have to find a way to get right to the edge and never step over. And sometimes that's difficult to do. You just got to continue to press that upon your young men and teach them to keep their composure in those situations. But you're right, those 2 penalties in particular, the 2 personal fouls, really hurt us because they extended the drives.
Next question. Josh?
Kenny, why were they able to run the ball against you? What was the key for that?
I just felt like we didn't tackle well. Most of the players, they got out in space. I feel like we didn't tackle well, and whenever we did wrap up, I just felt like they got enough yards to make it 3rd and manageable, and they ran the ball well. They ran the ball 62 times, and they ran the ball well. That's all I can say.
Sir in the front.
What ended up being the situation with offensive play calling? How'd you guys break it down?
Noel was in the press box, and he called him from up there. You could tell as the game went on, he got weaker and weaker. His voice, unfortunately, but it's serious. In the phones, we struggled at times to hear him, and he has a serious medical condition, and he fought through it, and that's how we managed it. You saw we had some offensive line issues there. We put Najee in there at guard, and Christian Garcia started, and those guys fought their tails off, but they were up against a tremendous front. And I think Josh has got some green on his back, and like I said, those guys fought their butts off, but you know that's a really good front up there that Nebraska has.
Josh, how'd you feel out there on your first bowl game?
I mean, I felt pretty good. It's just like any other game, but just on a side note with their defense, it's just they're playing their butts off, and it's kind of tough to. We just didn't play right on offense, putting our defense on the field in so many consecutive times. With going a long drive, a quick 3 and out, then a long drive, a quick 3 and out. It just when you play a tough team like that holds the ball for elongated periods of time, we can't get off the field. I mean, our defense got the ball around them 62 times, but I feel it's kind of our responsibility as an offense to hold that ball a little bit longer, to give them a little break. And stats probably aren't looking too pretty on the defense, but it's very, very large responsibility in the offense, and then myself taking control of that offense.
Sir.
Josh, can you talk about those last 2 offensive drives? I mean, you threatened both times, and you know, came away with no points. I mean, you could have tried to score in each of those extra goals. So, can you talk about just what went wrong and just how tough it was?
I can't remember the second to last one too.
The second one was the interception. The first one was the one with the missed field goal.
Okay, the missed field goal. It was just a little miscommunication. We'll figure that out internally. But the second drive, I had a little bit more responsibility coming in the game with the play calling. Just kind of take it over and see if I kind of muscle us to a victory. And at the end, I called a sprint out because we were having a few little offensive line shuffling issues with some personnel. So I thought if I could get out of the pocket, I'd make it easier on them and just kind of try to free my lanes up. But I bumped Paul to the other side in the back of the other man and put up an edge on the front side. And I should have called a timeout or changed the play or something. But I forget who that was in Nebraska, but he did a really good job of putting an edge up and recognizing the sprint out and making me turn back. Threw up a desperation play, trying to make something happen, and I guess you can say I kind of gained yards because of the touchback pick instead of 4th down, wherever it was.
Sure.
Coach, I want to get your opinion on the targeting call and how that might have changed the game from your standpoint.
Well, it didn't change the game. They still won it. I thought that it was a clean hit. I thought it was a good hit. If you saw me standing next to the young man on the field, that's what I was telling him. I said that was a really good football play. I've seen a lot of good football players, or a lot of good football plays. I thought that was a very good football play, and I was stunned that he got thrown out of the game, quite frankly. He's a good player. He told me we were standing there on the field talking. He says, "I can't believe I'm about to get thrown out of the second game in a row." I guess he got thrown out of one recently, but I didn't see that as a dirty play at all. I thought it was a good football play.
Coach Moore, how deceiving was Nebraska's 5-7 record maybe going into this game? A lot of people nationally they didn't really belong in the situation at 5-7.
Well, I think that we as a team have great respect for them, and we don't look at the record. But when you do look at their record, we saw they lost 8 games by 8 points or less. They beat Michigan State. I think it's very deceiving. You know, that's a really good football team, and a lot of their games came down to the last play. The bottom line is that, you know, we just didn't perform well enough tonight as coaches, as players, all of us. You know, we all bear responsibility for it. And like I said, we'll all take a hard look at ourselves, and we'll get better from it.
Jaleel, I know with Nebraska, they didn't have a 100-yard rusher. They just had 3 guys whose team carried most of the load. Can you talk about the challenge that presented?
I mean, well, as you can see, I'm not a pretty big guy, but those dudes, you know, they ran their tails off tonight, and hats off to them in the game plan that they did. You know, they had a little 3-head monster going there, and all those guys, you know, they ran to their best ability. I mean, so pretty much says much for itself.
Middle.
Jim, you mentioned wanting to get bigger, stronger, and looking forward to it in terms of recruiting. Are there other areas, just as a general rule for the program, that you kind of want to hit on going forward?
Improvement?
Yeah.
Everything. I mean, it starts with us as a staff, you know, taking a hard look at ourselves and what we do, how we teach, how we talk to our players, our structure of our practices, the structure of our offense, our defense, the drills. I mean, you name it, you just tear it apart. You know, you look at your strength and conditioning program, your nutritional program, your recovery program, your I mean, everything. You really do. You just have to do that every year. You have to evaluate where you are and what you have to do to get better. And there's a lot of things that we've done well, and we've got to continue to build on those, but there's a lot of things that we've got to improve on, and we will address those.
Okay, well, Coach Moore, thank you.
Yes, I think just want to take a second to recognize Gary, who started this bowl 15 or 14 years ago. And tonight, he is turning over the keys to somebody else. Just want to tell you on behalf of UCLA that we appreciate the week. Your bowl committee did an amazing job. You made it a lot of fun for us. It's a class group, and we appreciate you, and good luck to you. So thanks, everybody.
Thank you.